When most people get hugged, they treat it like a passive moment, something that asterisk happens to them asterisk, not something they actively create. But if you want to stay on his mind long after the hug is over, you need to flip that mindset. You can't just receive the hug. You have to asterisk participate asterisk in it. And that difference changes everything. Think about it. When someone hugs you and you just stand there, stiff or distant, it feels transactional. It's like shaking someone's hand without looking them in the eye. It happens, but it doesn't connect. But when you lean in, match his energy, and let your body respond naturally to his, you're not just hugging, you're creating a shared moment. You're sending a silent message, asterisk I'm here with you right now asterisk. That emotional presence is rare, and rarity is memorable. Most people hug automatically. They go through the motions because it's expected. But if you treat the hug as an asterisk opportunity asterisk, not a routine, you change the dynamic instantly. Imagine leaning in just slightly more than expected, not too much, not in a way that feels forced, but just enough to show him you're engaged. He'll feel it. People can sense when someone is truly present in a moment versus when they're just doing what they think they should. And let's be honest, men don't get this kind of emotional presence often. They don't usually get touched in a way that feels intentional and connected. So when they do, it leaves a mark. He won't consciously say she leaned in during that hug, but he'll replay the feeling of it. The warmth, the aliveness, the fact that for a brief second he wasn't alone in his world. It's about energy transfer, not choreography. You don't need to plan the perfect way to place your arms or calculate the angle of your head. That's overthinking it. What matters is being asterisk in the moment asterisk with him. If he gives a warm hug, match his warmth. If he's playful, let yourself smile into the embrace. If he's reserved, meet him where he is, but show that you're asterisk present asterisk, not just physically, but emotionally. This isn't about being seductive or trying to make a grand impression. It's about showing up authentically in a small, real moment. That's what people remember, because at the end of the day, people don't crave perfect gestures, they crave real connection. When you participate in the hug instead of just receiving it, you create something that feels real to both of you. And real is rare, rare is memorable, and memorable is exactly where you want to live in his mind. Most people think the hug itself is what creates the memory, but in reality, it's the asterisk small details around the hug asterisk that leave the deepest mark. These subtle physical cues, the little things you do during and right after, are what build emotional impact and make the moment linger. You're not just creating a physical connection, you're crafting a memory he'll replay in his mind, sometimes without even realizing why. Think about the simple act of a soft squeeze before you let go. That tiny gesture sends a silent message. Asterisk, I'm not just going through the motions, I'm enjoying this moment with you. Asterisk, it creates a feeling of safety and closeness without needing to say a word. Most people release a hug abruptly. They tap out too quickly, almost like they're checking a box and moving on. But when you add just a fraction of a second, a gentle pause, a soft squeeze, you disrupt the pattern he's used to. That's what makes it stick. Or consider the way you pull back from the hug. Instead of stepping away quickly or looking down, lift your head slowly, let your eyes meet his, and give a playful or knowing smile. That moment, when there's still a hint of closeness, when your face is just a few inches from his, is where the emotional hook happens. It's not about seduction, it's about connection. You're letting him feel something asterisk, different asterisk, from the everyday interactions he usually has. People remember the things that interrupt their normal patterns, especially when those interruptions feel good. It could be something as simple as the way your hand slides gently off his arm as you break the hug. Not grabbing, not holding on, just letting your touch linger a split second longer than expected. These micro moments don't just communicate affection, they plant a seed. They make him wonder, did she mean to do that? That little question, that spark of curiosity, is powerful. It keeps him thinking about you long after the hug is over. And here's the key: this has to come from a place of sincerity. People can sense when you're being calculated versus when you're genuinely connected, so don't do the soft squeeze or the playful smile because you're supposed to asterisk. Do it because you're present, because you actually want to savor the moment. That's when these subtle cues feel real, not rehearsed. When something feels real, it creates emotional imprinting. That's how the brain works. It replays moments that felt alive. Most hugs are forgettable because they follow the same routine. But when you add these small, almost invisible layers of warmth, playfulness, or connection, you turn an ordinary hug into an experience that leaves a trace in his mind. He may not be able to explain why, but he'll find himself thinking about you days later, wondering why such a simple moment felt so significant. Physical moments create connection, but it's the words that anchor the memory. When you combine the physical with the emotional, you create something lasting. A hug by itself is nice. It feels good in the moment, but if you want to stay on his mind long after, you need to give him something to think about when the moment ends. That's where words come in. They don't have to be long or complicated. In fact, the simpler and more natural they are, the better. But they need to be personal, and they need to match the moment . Imagine you hug him, and as you pull back, you smile and say, "That's dangerous. I might start looking for excuses to do that again." Now you've taken a nice hug and turned it into a playful, memorable moment. It's no longer just about the embrace, it's about the emotion behind it. It plants a playful seed in his mind, one that makes him smile later when he's alone. You've given him something to replay, not just in his body, but in his thoughts. Or maybe it's something softer, like, "Wow, I needed that today." That simple sentence does two things at once. It shows vulnerability, and it lets him know that the moment meant something to you. People remember how they made you feel . And when you show that a simple hug had an impact on you, it makes the experience more meaningful for both of you. He's not just going to remember the physical contact. He's going to remember that he made a difference to you in that moment . And that's something that sticks. Sometimes it's about teasing, sometimes it's about sincerity, but either way, it's about being present enough to say something real. Most people rush through these small moments. They hug, they step back, and they change the subject. But when you pause and say something thoughtful, something that connects to the moment, you create emotional texture. That texture is what lingers in someone's mind. It's what makes the memory replay in his head later, while he's driving or lying in bed at night thinking about you without even meaning to. The right words can transform a hug from something that happened into something that stays with him. It could be lighthearted, like "careful, you're setting the bar pretty high with that one," or personal, like "you have no idea how much I appreciate you right now." It's not about overthinking or forcing depth where it doesn't belong. It's about being emotionally awake during a moment of connection. When you do that, when you combine touch with a thoughtful word or phrase, you don't just create a good memory, you create a loop in his mind that plays back over and over. That's how you take a hug and turn it into something unforgettable. The moment right after the hug is where most people disconnect without even realizing it. They pull away, look down, shuffle their feet, or change the subject too quickly. But if you want to stay on his mind long after the embrace, you need to pay attention to what happens in those few seconds after . This is where your micro-expressions become your superpower. The look you give, the energy you hold, the way your eyes meet his, all of it creates emotional gravity. It's not the hug itself that keeps him thinking about you, it's what you communicate right after . When you pull back from the hug, let there be a pause. Don't rush away. Let your eyes find his, but do it softly, without pressure. You're not staring him down, you're letting your gaze linger just a little longer than usual. That's where the magic happens. A microsecond of eye contact can say more than a 5-minute conversation. It creates tension, warmth, curiosity, all at once. It tells him, this wasn't just routine for me, this was something real. Add a playful smile or a knowing look right after the hug. That little smirk, the one that says you're holding a secret or savoring the moment, is powerful. It creates a story in his mind. He'll think, what was she thinking right then? Did she feel something too? That mystery paired with warmth is what keeps you replaying in someone's head long after you've gone. Most people don't think about these tiny moments because they seem so small. But small things are what our brains latch onto when something feels emotionally charged. The mind doesn't replay the big gestures, it replays the tiny details that felt alive. The subtle softness in your eyes, the curve of your lips, the way you stayed present for just a beat longer than expected. That's what will loop in his memory. It's not about trying to control the moment. It's about being fully in it and letting your body language reflect that. And here's the truth, people don't get this level of emotional attention often. We're all busy, distracted, thinking about what's next. So when someone actually pauses, stays present, and looks at you like you matter in that moment it lands differently. It creates a lasting impression because it's rare, and what's rare is what we remember. You don't have to overdo it. In fact, trying too hard breaks the spell. The goal is simple. Be in the moment with him, let your eyes linger, let your face soften, and let there be a moment of connection that feels unspoken but understood. That's the part he'll replay when he's alone, not just the hug, but the feeling he got when you looked at him afterward. That's how you live in someone's mind, long after you've walked away. One of the most common mistakes people make in moments of connection is trying to hold onto them too tightly. They drag out the hug, overstay the moment, or add too many words afterward, thinking that the longer it lasts, the deeper the impression will be. But the truth is, if you want to stay on his mind, you have to leave him wanting more, not give him so much that he feels like the mystery is gone. People remember the moments that almost feel like they ended too soon not the ones that overstayed their welcome. There's a delicate balance between warmth and overfamiliarity. If you make the hug too long or too heavy, it can lose its magic and turn into something routine. But if you keep it just brief enough to spark curiosity, you create that feeling of unfinished business . It's that little gap between what happened and what could have happened that makes people think about you later. That's where the memory starts looping in his mind, when you give him a hug that's warm and real, but then you pull away just a second before he expects. You create a sense of surprise. He'll feel it. His body will register that the moment was meaningful, but also that it left him with a sense of wait, what was that? That slight interruption of the pattern triggers intrigue, and intrigue is the fuel for memory. Think about the last time you had a conversation that left you wondering about someone afterward. It wasn't because they told you every detail of their life. It was because they gave you just enough to make you curious. That same principle applies to physical connection. The best moments are the ones that create a spark, then step back before the fire burns out. It's not about playing games, it's about creating emotional space for someone to miss you. When you stay too long, you give them closure. When you step back just soon enough, you give them a reason to think about you later. So when you hug him, let it be sincere. Let it be warm, but don't linger too long. End it on a high note, not when the energy starts to fade. Give him a soft squeeze. Let your eyes meet his for just a moment afterward. Maybe add a playful line, but then step back and let the moment breathe. That pause, that space you create, is where his mind will start to wonder about you. He'll replay the hug in his head not because it dragged on, but because it left him with a feeling of I wouldn't mind experiencing that again . Leaving someone wanting more isn't about withholding affection, it's about knowing the value of timing. When you exit a moment just before it becomes predictable, you create something far more powerful than just comfort. You create anticipation. And anticipation is what keeps you living in his thoughts long after the moment is over. People don't remember moments because of the action itself. They remember them because of how those moments made them feel . That's why the real key to staying on his mind after a hug isn't just in the hug, it's in the emotion you create during it. The secret is to decide intentionally, what feeling you want him to associate with you, and then deliver that feeling in the smallest, most natural way possible. When you do this, you're no longer just hugging him. You're planting an emotional seed that will grow every time he thinks about you. Ask yourself, what do you want him to feel when he remembers you? Is it comfort? Is it playful excitement? Is it connection and safety? Or is it the thrill of tension, the kind that makes him wonder what's coming next? Once you know that, the way you hug him, the way you let go, the way you look at him afterward, all of that should reflect that feeling. That's how people become unforgettable. It's not by accident, it's by association. Imagine you give him a hug that's soft, grounding, and warm. You add a gentle squeeze just before you pull away, and when you look at him after, your eyes soften like you see something in him that other people miss. Now you've given him a sense of being seen of being safe . The next time he feels stressed, he'll find his mind wandering back to that moment with you, not because of the hug itself, but because you became his mental shortcut to a feeling of peace. That's emotional imprinting, or maybe you give him a hug that's playful, a little mischievous smirk as you let go, a teasing line like, you're dangerous. Suddenly, the hug is no longer about physical closeness. It's about flirtation and excitement . You've created an emotional association with you that triggers his sense of adventure, his sense of fun. The next time he wants that feeling, he'll think of you. This is how emotional memories work. We don't replay the exact details, we replay the feelings tied to them. If someone makes you feel comforted, you think of them when you need comfort. If someone makes you feel alive, you think of them when you want excitement. The goal is to become the person his brain pulls up when it wants the feeling you created . That's how you stay on his mind, not by being physically present, but by becoming the shortcut to something emotional he craves. So next time you're in that moment, don't just focus on how the hug looks or whether you did it right. Focus on how it feels for you and for him. Create the emotion you want to be remembered for, because people don't miss actions, they miss feelings . And when you master that, you'll find yourself living in his mind long after the hug is over.